So, is everyone here? I'll start the class now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna share my screen really quickly. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who didn't come last class, I hope you checked out our YouTube channel. You could watch our old classes. My name is Sampreeth Immidisetty. Most of you guys know me from last class. Okay, so first I'm just gonna do a small recap of what we went over last class in case anyone forgot. So we just went over the introduction. I told you why Python was a good language for people who are starting. We went over how to download and set up Python from python.org. Remember, if you type over here, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so if you type in idle here, you could you'll get this option over here. You guys remember this?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and then you can open it, make a new file.
Hear it.
Huh? Okay, yeah, and you can make a new file, save it, run it, right? So that's great. That was the first thing. And then next, we went over what variables and constants were. If you guys remember, variables are like a temporary placeholder. So you could have a variable named number that could have the value of a number. Yeah, and constants are a placeholder that has the same value throughout code. We went over all this last class. If you have any confusions, you can ask me or check out the old video. And then we went over what data types are. So again, data types are basically an attribute to a variable. So it basically tells your computer how the variable is going to be used. So if you have a variable that has a number, your computer has to treat it like a number instead of a word. So it uses the data type integer. If your variable has some words or characters in it, it has to treat it as words and characters instead of a number. So it treats it as a string. Okay. Next we got the syntax for it. If you remember, for assigning a variable, you could just everyone keep their idle open. You can just put number is equal to 1. So basically you're putting the name, you're putting equals to as your assignment operator. So you're assigning the value number, or you're assigning the variable number with the value 1. Okay, so this is an assignment operator. So this is all we went over last class. We went over some rules, like it can't start with a number, and they're case sensitive. And then we went over print statements. Print statements are just used to output, right? Your computer will look, oh, what's in the 2 parentheses, what's in the 2 brackets, and it'll print that. And remember, strings always use 2 quotation marks. Okay, so today, for today's class, we're gonna go over another basic concept called declaration, a basic programming concept, declaration and initialization. Then we're gonna go over some comparison operators, logic operators. Then we're gonna go over a fun to use statement. It's one of the most used statements in Python. It's called if or else. You guys will find very interesting, I guarantee it. And then if we have time, we can go over some indentations and how that works. I'll get over that later. Okay, so we can start with declaration and initialization. So initialization is basically giving a value. Don't remember the names. The names are unnecessary. Don't remember them. Just remember that they're a thing and what they're for. So this right here, initialization, both of these are important, right? So initialization is giving a value to a variable. So if you saw over here, where is it? We gave a value to a variable. You're initializing number. So you're giving a value, you're assigning a value. That's initialization. And declaration is basically giving the data type. If you remember, data type integer, string. But the thing about this is not too important for programming. It's just a good to know knowledge. If anyone has any questions, you can just unmute your mic. Everyone's good? Okay, cool. I'll move on. Okay, so now we're gonna go over the operators. We're not gonna go over all of them, just some important ones. Okay, so operators they can be comparison and logical. These are the two ones we're going to go over. So comparison is basically comparing two numbers or two values, two variables, you could say. So imagine you have variable x is something and variable y is something. Now you're comparing their two values. So you could say, are they equal? Are they not equal? Is x greater than y? Is x smaller than y? Is x greater than or equal to y? Or is x smaller than or equal to y? Okay, so if you have two variables, you can compare them. These are useful for if and else statements. Okay, make sense? Everybody make sense? It's clear?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And logic operators, they're also used for if statements really widely. You could have two different comparisons. I'll get over that once I explain the if and else statement. Okay? So the if and else statement will basically compare two values. So you say if this value and you compare it to another value. So if x is equal to y, then you can you can put another command under it based on the output. So if they're equal, it'll run something. Or if they're not equal, else it'll run something else. Okay? So over here, look at this example I gave. X is equal to 5. Okay, so I gave the value, I initialized the value of x is equal to 5. I assigned this. Now, if x is equal to 5, I use this equals to sign because I wrote in the comparison operators, right? When you use Python, you use this equals to compare. Okay, so if x is equal to 5, then I use this colon and I say I want to print the value of x is 5. Or else, if if this condition is not satisfied, it'll go to the else statement. Okay, and in the else statement, I want it to print it is not equal to 5. Okay, I'll give you another better example here. Say we have age, okay, and I'll give my age of 15. And then we use the statement if age is less than 21, and you use this colon. So what we're doing is we're putting the if statement, and if you can see it lights up here, it gives that orange color, right? That means it's a command that Python understands. If, then we're putting our condition here, and we're putting a colon. This colon will basically say what will happen if this condition is true. If it's true, then I want it to print. Remember, if you want to print a string, if you want to print some text, you have to use the quotation marks. Okay? I want it to print, you are too young to drink. Okay? Now, we can use the else statement down here. Else, you don't have to put a condition for the else statement. That's the thing. Because you're already satisfying this condition. If it's not satisfied here, it'll just go and it'll do whatever you give it in the else statement. Okay? Then I can print you can drink. Okay? And then we run this. We'll save it. Okay, so what happened here is I gave this if statement, age is less than 21. Okay, as you guys know, 21 is the age for drinking in India. So I gave age is less than 21. It checks, okay, what's an age? The variable. It goes up here, it says age is 15. 15 is less than 21, so it will print you are too young to drink. Okay, but now if I change this to say 25, if I am 25 years old, then it'll say you can drink, because if age is less than 21, is 25 less than 21? No. So it will not print this. It'll go and do whatever is opposite, or whatever you give in the else statement. Print you can drink. Okay, everyone clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Thing I won't show you. I'll just give you the syntax. Anyone want to try it? Maybe share your screen once you do it. Just ask me if you have any questions. I'll give you a minute to like test something out. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
After you type else,
Yeah.
there is a syntax error.
Did you put the colon? This colon right here?
Yeah, I have done.
Okay. Did you
So
put
is it
this
correct?
indent here?
Yeah.
And then you put the print statement. Okay, you want to share your screen? I'll see what happens.
Actually, I can, but let me try it.
Sure, sure. Take your time.
Can
Okay.
you see this? Actually.
I cannot. Oh, you're on your phone. Can you like put it a little closer? Maybe.
Yeah. Can you see it now?
I cannot see it.
Yeah. I'm not sure with it, but why is this not?
Okay, maybe you can make a code that has a specified grade. So if you get, you get the marks, you put in a variable marks, and if the marks are greater than a certain value, say marks are greater than 80, then say print you got the score A, you got the A grade. Try it out and show
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Else say you failed. Okay?
Yeah.
Great. Try it out for yourselves. 1 second, I will be back. Very well. Anyone finish? Anyone tried out? Okay, anyone want to share your screen? Maybe Ashman, you want to try, you want to share your screen? You want any help? Great.
Okay, I have got it now.
Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. Do you know why it didn't automatically indent for you? Because you actually forgot to put the colon. See, get rid of the print statement.
Okay.
Right? Scratch out. Go up here to the top and now put a colon. Shift and click the semicolon button. And now click enter. See, now you know it works because it moved to the next indent.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember one also important thing I told you was when you put a string, when you put any text, you have to put the quotation marks. Right. Great. Okay. Now use. Oh, go back. Use the else.
Bracket.
So the else statement actually has to be in the same line. Okay, fine. Yeah, put it in the same line as the if statement. There you go. Else. Yep. Okay. So one thing you forgot again was the colon. That's important for if or else statements. Okay, now you put the colon in front of the else statement. And then yeah, put the colon. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, now try running it. You also have to actually bring the. Okay, click save. Try it. That's great. Good job. Okay. So anyone else want to show me, or should I move on? Okay. Fine. So I'll go over the next thing. Let me share my screen. So Python actually follows these things called indents a lot. Okay. So when you're using an indent, that means sorry. Yeah. So indents are important. So under the if statement, there has to be an indent, or else Python will not know. Okay, so since there's a space, whatever is in this indent, I'll have to run. Okay, does that make sense? This is wrong syntax actually. Don't use the then. Okay, yeah. So this syntax is this indentation is important. It can be of any size, but it just has to be at least one space. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. So yeah, I guess we can go over one more thing. So earlier when I was going over the data types, I only went over two of them, integer and string. So there's actually one more important one called floating point. Okay, basically a float. A float, it basically, so integers are only whole numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? But floating points, they can take decimal values. So a large or even a really small value. So say 1.5, 2.5. So these are all floating points. 3.764, right? These are all floating point values. So like I said, your computer takes in each variable with a different data type that you give it, right? So if you want it to be treated like a floating point, then you have to use this right here, float. Okay, so there's this thing called casting. So casting is basically changing or specifying the data type of a variable. Okay, so say
Oh my.
let me get rid of this. Age is equal to int 25. So I'm just specifying that this is an integer. Remember, this is a data type here. Okay, and now when I print age, it'll print 25. Okay, now we could also specify it as a float. Now, like I said, a float value will always take it in the as decimal points. Okay, that's why when you print this, it'll put 25.0 because it's taking this as a float value, right? So the way your Python, the way your computer understands this value, understands this float, or understands this variable is the way it can use it. So since I put float here, it adds a decimal point because float can have decimal point. Okay? Makes sense? So now imagine I have a variable value is equal to, I put like 26. Did someone say something?
I didn't actually understand what does float practically mean. I didn't actually understand.
So anytime you want to do like a mathematical calculation and you want decimal points. So you want like 1.5 divided by 0.5. You can't do that with integer numbers. So the remember I gave you the data types. I gave you integer and string, right? So there's a third one called float, which has decimal points.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense? So now this would be a float value. Okay, because it has decimal points. Okay, but there is this thing called casting over here, where you can convert or change, construct an integer based on even if you have a floating point. So now, 1 second. If I give this an integer value, so right now Python is taking this as a float number, okay, because it has decimal points. But I want it to be an integer value. So what do you think is going to happen here? Run it.
You're supposed to.
Sorry. My bad.
Okay.
See, because integer is only whole number. Even though I gave it a floating point, I told my program, I told Python, I want it to be an integer. So the way you can do this is you can put the data type you want. You can put open bracket, put the value you want, put the close bracket. So now, even though I put a floating point, I turned it into an integer. Integer can only be whole numbers. Okay? So when I printed it, I printed it as an integer, not as a floating point. Okay?
But then, don't you want it to print 25.12244435?
Yeah, so usually if you give it a value like this, you want to. But sometimes, you know, when you're doing a calculation, it'll look bad if you have like a lot of decimal points. So you want to round it down maybe. Or you want to like change it up. So you could always use this. This is a concept you might be using later. Okay? Everyone understand? Okay. Yeah. So I guess that's all I'm gonna cover for now. Actually, I'll go over the string construction. So even of string, say, let's give a string. Okay. So I gave this, right? So now even though this number, even though this number is a string, right? I gave it as a string, even though it has a number in it, it's actually a string value. Okay, because it has these quotation marks. Remember I told you whenever you have a string value, you give it the quotation, right? Now, if I want it, maybe I stored it as that, but I want it to be an integer. I could always use the integer, int, and then print number. So it'll print it as a string, as a integer instead. Okay, does that make sense? So even a string value can be converted into an integer. It can be converted into a float. Even a float can be converted into a string value. Okay, everyone remember what a string value is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone else have any doubts now? For now, this is more than enough for today. Anyone have any doubts?
No.
Okay, is everyone's, remember I gave you the if-else statement? Everyone want to try it out and you can show me if you have any questions. So Ashman's is working right here.
Not working for me.
Yeah, share your screen.
Yeah, so this is what I have.
Okay, so
Can you see
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I see it. So, also before the class ends, can everyone put their name in the chat one more time? Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so you see the if statement, if you forgot to compare age to 18. Okay, so you just put if less than 18. So you have to put two different values and compare it with the comparison operator. Okay, so put age.
Okay, age. I'm supposed to write age next to 18.
Before the less than sign. So age. Great.
That's it.
Okay, now remember I told you about the indentation? So actually else is not indented. So you have to get rid of that indent over there before else. That small space before else.
Okay, that's too much.
Okay. Else goes to the next line. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Now also if statement has a colon and else statement also has a colon. So put a colon after the else statement. Colon.
Did I put it before also?
No, that's not a colon. The colon you see next to your L key, there's like two dots. You put after your the same thing.
Yeah.
Put it, okay. Okay. You don't need a space between else and the colon. You can get rid of that. Yeah. Now put it. Okay. Now
Did I put
bring
it
this
after
print
if?
statement. Yeah, you already put it. No. So you actually have to put it after your comparison. So your if statement is correct. You see you put the colon after your if statement. That's correct. Now over here, else, there is no comparison. So you directly put it over there. Now you go to your else statement, and after the colon, you put the space. You click your enter key.
Guys, the class is running out of time.
Enter. Bring it to the next line.
I did.
Perfect. Now it should.
Let's get
Okay,
Zoom
great.
meeting and class.
Okay, great. So thanks everybody for joining. If you have any questions, just mail classes for kids 1, 2, 3. We'll put the email address in the chat. Everyone write their names. Okay, thanks everybody for joining. This is a good class.
Yeah, thanks.
You can always ask me questions whenever you want.
Thank you.
Okay.